Let's go live to Perth. Here's the opposition leader speaking to the media.
As you know, a legendary cricketer and was a former chairman of Cricket Australia, has represented our country and his state in cricket at the very highest levels, and he's translated that success into an amazing operation here at Holman's. It's obviously a household name, and when people go into a Bunnings or they go into other stores across the country, if they're renovating or as builders, they see this product and they know that it's a reliable product. And to hear the success story here, the building from a garage into a major international player in this space is something we should all be very proud of. And as Tom pointed out before, though, for businesses, we were in New South Wales the other day where a local grocery shop was paying an extra $40,000 a month in electricity. Now, that's passed on to consumers, and that's why we're seeing businesses as well as households paying so much more for their electricity, for their gas, and that's why food is up by 30% under the Albanese government. And the Treasurer wants to tell Australians that it's all over and done with, that the fight against inflation is all done and that we're turning the corner. That's not the experience of families. People know that the Labor Party, in concert with the Greens, if that's what happens, there is a Labor-Greens government after the election, that the spending will continue, that interest rates go back up again in that inflationary environment. And it's harder for businesses here and right across WA to succeed. I'm really proud to be here today to make a very significant announcement. The WA economy can't survive, manufacturing can't survive, electricity can't be produced without gas in the system. And Tanya Plibersek has taken a decision to be the Minister for No Mining, because it makes her popular and it makes Anthony Albanese popular with Green voters in inner city Sydney and Melbourne. And the Labor government, under Anthony Albanese and Tanya Plibersek and Chris Bowen, have taken a decision to abandon WA, to put in place all sorts of processes and roadblocks to stop projects from taking place. Why? Why would they destroy jobs and economic activity in WA? Because they want to chase Green votes in inner city Sydney and Melbourne. And I think West Australians are smart enough to realise that they're being duped by a Prime Minister who is no Mark McGowan, no Roger Cook, and frankly, he's a Prime Minister that is against mining and is against agriculture and is against development. And our announcement today to deal with the North West Shelf gas extension decision within 30 days should send a very clear message that our government would be provide a very different future for Western Australians than what Labor Greens government would do. I'm seeking a mandate from the Australian people, and in particular from the people of Western Australia, to make sure that we can keep mining going and to make sure that we can keep investments and approval processes flowing, because without it, there are no jobs. And if we shut down the WA economy, as Tanya Plibersek is trying to do, then it will be devastating not just for this local economy, but for our national economy as well. It was comical yesterday to see Jim Chalmers refusing to mention the word $275. This is a Prime Minister and a Treasurer who promised before the election on 97 occasions that they would provide price relief, a price reduction of $275 per year on people's electricity bill. Now, 3 years almost at the end of this terrible term of government, the Treasurer refuses to even mention that word. So how could you believe anything that Jim Chalmers says going into the next election? If they didn't deliver on their last promises, how can you believe them on the promises that they're making this time around? A coalition government will get our country back on track. We will lower inflation, we'll make our community safer, we will provide an economic environment where people can invest again. We'll help young Australians achieve the dream of home ownership, and we will address Labor's cost of living crisis that they've created. There's a lot of work to do in cleaning up a Labor mess, but we're certainly able to do it. We've proven in the past, as John Howard did when he came in after Paul Keating's period, that we can clean up a Labor mess, and that's what we'll do. And we'll get our country back on track through good economic decisions and good decisions that will create jobs and industry here in the powerhouse of our national economy. And if the WA economy is faltering because of bad decisions driven by the Greens in Canberra, then that is a very bad day for WA and our country. I'm very happy to take any questions.
This North West Shelf policy seems to be kind of predicated on the department coming back with a yes once you force them to come back with it. What if they come back with a no for the North West Shelf extension?
Well, I just want to be very clear about where we're at. So the WA government has gone through its processes and considered the application. That's gone on for 6 years. Now, there is a lot of information, obviously, that's duplicated between the federal and state processes. But after 6 years, the Cook government has given approval for this extension. There is no conceivable reason as to why approval can't be given, except if you've got a minister who is beholden to Green voters in inner city Sydney and Melbourne and putting the interests of those Green voters over the interests of WA. That won't be an experience of our government. We will have a strong minister in John O'Doniam, and we will make sure that this approval is arrived at in 30 days, and we will make sure that there can be certainty about electricity production and make sure that there is certainty about the underpinning of the energy market here in Western Australia so that businesses like this can grow. I want to see Holman's double in size. I want to see a mining boom here in WA. I don't want to see our country go backwards under a Labor Greens government, and Tanya Plibersek as the Minister for No Mining in a Labor Greens government would be a disaster. Now, the other disaster here in WA is Kate Chaney, who is opposed to this gas extension and is lining up further to the left than the Labor Party. Kate Chaney is in lockstep with the Greens, and Kate Chaney means a reduction in economic activity in this state, a reduction in jobs, and I believe very strongly that if we can get Tom White elected into the seat of Curtin, we can prevent a minority Labor government with the Greens and the Teals, which would be a disaster, not just for the people of Curtin, but for every person who's in business and every person who's working in a business here in Western Australia.
Mr.